I love maps. It's probably not a big surprise.
Maps allow for a kind of communication that I think goes well above and beyond what we're able to convey orally.
Maps can tell us a whole load about different things, a whole load about different cultures, a whole load about people in general. That is a bit more than just here's where people live. Here's 4 maps that tell some stories that are a little bit deeper than just here's where all the countries are. Rules and laws surrounding citizenship differ from country to country. You might think that a person is a citizen of a country that they are born into, and this is definitely the case for some countries around the world. Someone born in Cuba has Cuban citizenship, and someone born in the US is entitled to citizenship there also. This is known as jus soli, or birthright citizenship, and is only the case in some countries. Looking at this map, you can see that most countries in the Americas have this system. So even if you are born in a plane above any of these countries, then you have citizenship in those countries. And you've probably got an interesting story to tell. The majority of these countries don't operate under jus soli, but jus sanguinis, citizenship by blood. The UK, for example, doesn't automatically give you citizenship if you happen to be born in, above, or around, or even approaching these islands. They instead ask that your parents are also born in the UK with UK citizenship, so that right is then passed on to you. This rule can mean that people can also be born outside of some countries and then become citizens of those countries. For example, France allows people to become citizens if their parents were born in the country, even if they themselves have never set foot in Lexagon. North Korea is a bit of a rabbit hole for me. I have spent countless hours reading up about this country and how it works and how its people live and basically how they manage to survive as a completely isolated country. But believe it or not, they still have elections in North Korea. North Korea's full name, proper name, is the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. And that word democratic kind of stands out to us in the West because we're told that North Korea is anything but democratic. On the one hand, you've got most of the world decrying North Korea for, among other things, not having a real democratic process. And then on the other hand, you've got North Korea themselves having elections and going so far as to put democratic in their name. So who's in the right here? Well, if we look at this map, we find a hint towards the answer. This is a map of the election results from the last North Korean election, and notice the result in all the different provinces of North Korea. 100% for Kim Jong-un and his Democratic Front for the reunification of the fatherland. 100%. Everywhere. As popular as anything is, you simply cannot get 100% of the people to fully agree 100% on anything. You could put a referendum out today and ask people on whether or not oxygen is a good or a bad thing, and you'd not get 100% of people agreeing to that. So it's difficult to believe that 100% of the people voted for this one guy in this one election. They do have elections, but they've only got one choice on the ballot. Answer me this. What time do you usually sit down and eat dinner? Well, if you're in Europe, chances are your time will fit somewhere into this map, depending on where in Europe you are. This is a great example of how the earth itself influences how people behave and how other things influence the cultures that we have here in Europe. Look at the countries in Northern Europe, Finland and Norway mainly. Why do these countries eat dinner so early compared to the rest of Europe? Well, it's to do with the sun. In the wintertime in Finland, the sun will set as early as 3 p.m.
Last question. Have you ever seen the sun set at 3 p.m? Aye.
So their day is a bit more compact around that. Compare that to the likes of Spain. They're having their dinner as late as 10:30 p.m. Why is that? That's because of a culture of siesta, where traditionally there'll be a long break in the middle of the day where people can have a big lunch or they can take a nap. So the day in Spain is broken up into 2 bits, split by a nap in the middle. Sounds great. Other cultures do this too, but they are mainly found in very hot countries, and the idea behind this is almost always the same: to get people out of the scorching midday sun. What is the most popular sport in the country that you live in? Statistically, it's very likely that you're going to say football in some form, whether that be American football or soccer type football. Football. But this isn't always the case. Baseball is known as America's pastime, but it's not the most popular sport in the United States. They love it in Japan, however, with the professional league here, Nippon Professional Baseball, being played continuously since 1950. Well, with some off-season breaks, I suppose. Canada has 2 national sports, one for winter and one for summer. Their most popular sport is ice hockey, and it's perhaps the sport that Canada is most well known for. But they have another sport that is played across the country for when the days are a little bit warmer: lacrosse. Some countries stand alone in their love of particular sports. Ireland's most popular sport is Gaelic football, a variant of football that is played all over the island in both Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. The championship game of this sport, the All-Ireland Final, attracts about 1 million viewers annually. Travel to Mongolia and you'll find that as a strong part of the culture sits the sport of wrestling. Bok is a traditional form of wrestling practiced in Mongolia since prehistoric times. Evidence of Mongolian wrestling can be found even in cave paintings in the country. It's that old. They've been doing this for a very, very long time. So maps have not only been very important to us as we try and chart the world and try and make sense of where it is that we live, but they also tell us different things about us, about human beings, about how we live in those places. And that's just 4 of them. Thanks for watching.